Jackie Jones, yeah.
All right, I'm back. Jackie Jones here at iWhiteWrestling.com for the TNA April 13th review. Show opens up with Eric Bischoff cutting a promo, setting up for the big match this Sunday at Lockdown. Team Garrett versus Team Eric. Now, if Team Garrett loses, he's all done as a wrestler. If Team Eric loses, he can no longer use the last name Bischoff. So Eric goes out there and he announces his team. And he's got Gunner, he's got Bully Ray, he's got Kaz, and he's got Christopher Daniels. And Bully Ray cuts a promo and he says Eric's only made one mistake in his career, and that is his bastard son, Garrett. Good promo. Really hot crowd for a lot of heat for Bully Ray. Probably the best heel in the business right now. And a lot of heat for Eric Bischoff. This promo sets up the format for the show. It's going to be a best-of-3 series to determine who has the advantage at Lockdown. Kind of like taking the place of the old coin toss from War Games. So Garrett comes out there with his long sideburns. Man, he looks like a douche. But anyway, the man is really over. They love this guy, and I do see a lot of potential in him. He announces his first man on his team, and that is none other than Mr. Anderson. And Mr. Anderson, I gotta say, for the last few weeks, has really looked rough. Looked like the man's been off like a bender every time he comes out there. Looked a lot better tonight. Looked in good shape. Had a really decent match with Gunner. Actually, a really good match, I would say. Kind of a weird finish was DQ choking him out. But, you know, I don't think they wanted Anderson doing a job here leading up to the big pay-per-view. So I had no problem with that. But it was a good match, and it was a good showing by Anderson. Glad to see that. Because I like the guy, but the guys got to step it up a little bit in the ring, on the promos. Get away from just relying on the a-hole chants. But anyway, good match. We cut backstage to Eric Young, who's preparing for his big wedding tonight. And he ran into Joseph Parks, who was looking for his brother. And it was a pretty good exchange of stuff. I kind of like the Joseph Parks character when I first heard about it. I didn't think I'd like it, but I dig it. Eric Young, I think, is one of the best comedy guys in wrestling, him and Santino. If you got guys that can do comedy, I'm all for it. If you don't, stay away from it. But Eric Young, definitely a guy who can do the comedy. I did like the powder blue tuxedo. Looked like he was going to like a prom back in the 70s. It's good stuff. And Joseph Parks, he suggested he gets a prenup. But Eric Young kind of blew that one off. And Eric said, love conquers all. Then we're back into the ring. Motor City Machine Guns. You got Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin cutting a promo. Want to go for the tag team titles this Sunday at Lockdown. And I kind of like the contrast and the personalities now, because you got Alex Shelley's kind of like the sarcastic guy. And then you got Chris Sabin, who's more serious now. I thought that was good instead of just two guys that are identical and no personality. I think this was a good way to go. The tag champs Magnus and Samoa Joe come out, and I gotta say this interaction really put over the tag titles, because Motor City Machine Guns really put over that they really want the belts and went over all the teams that they've beaten over the years. And, Joe and Magnus, they have the titles and they want to keep them. And they had Mexican America come out. And, basically they just came out for like fodder. Instead of the teams getting, doing battle right there, they just came out for the Motor City Machine Guns to beat up and kick out of the ring. I thought it was really well done. And like I said, it put over the tag belts, and it made me want to see the match this weekend. Match 2 on the show was the second match in the series. And we had Christopher Daniels versus the greatest person in the world, Austin Aries, who is now a babyface. And if you told me that before, and I think, well, this guy's got to be a heel. He's very unlikable. But man, the crowd is really into him, so I say all for it. Go with the babyface run, Austin Aries. I dig it. Awesome match, which I think you come to expect from these two. As much as I like Daniels, I guess Austin Aries in this short amount of time is more over, I think, than Daniels has been in his whole TNA run. And I really think that comes down to the personality and the charisma of Austin Aries. Both guys awesome in the ring, though. Cool brain buster. Great match. Jeff Hardy promo, talking about his match with Kurt Angle. Kind of the theme of the whole night. They really put over every match on the pay-per-view. I think that's a big plus, because that's something TNA's really been lacking on. Jeff Hardy's never going to be a great promo guy, but the crowd still likes him, so what the hell. Then we had a Cowboy James Storm promo. This one wasn't so great, but later on he'll make up for it. But he's with a couple rednecks, so I don't know. Sorry about that if I offend you out there, but what the hell. Then we had Eric Young again. Rosita and Sarita, they're hitting on him, trying to convince him to, don't marry ODB and drop the titles to us. Man, I don't know how EY does it, but you got your choice. Do you marry ODB or do you taste Sarita and Rosita? That's a hell of a choice there. Wedding time. We had the wedding. Eric Young, ODB in a cage. just right out the start, I was like, this is good stuff. They lock him in the cage, which I found really funny for some reason. They're getting married. They lock him in there. You can't get out. You have to climb out of the ring, I guess. I think maybe ODB's like her wedding gown was supposed to look silly. It was like real tree camo, but I actually dug it. I was going to say I'd wear it if it wasn't a gown, you see what I'm saying. But I dug it. I thought it was pretty cool. They had a video play their whole relationship. It was really funny. They exchanged vows, and Eric Young said like he vowed to love her even if she farts, which sounds kind of terrible, but it was kind of funny coming from Eric Young. He said he would allow her to rub his feet. There was a guy out in the crowd who said, "You can do it," which again made me laugh. ODB promised not to take his last name, but she would take his ring music. That was pretty cool. And she would slap his ass and give him a buffet of bam. Man, ODB. Oh, by the way, check out iWhiteWrestling.com. Just a couple weeks ago, we interviewed ODB all about this wedding. Check it out. They got Rosita and Sarita coming out. And again, they're offering EY a taste of us, a taste of Sarita, a taste of Rosita if you turn down ODB. Man, Eric Young. You got quite the dilemma on your hands. ODB is crying. She said, "Don't take my man." And she says, "I know I don't have what they have, but they don't have what I have." And she takes off the wedding gown, and she's got a matching real tree lingerie on. Pretty nice stuff. And then Eric, he actually takes off his clothes, and he's got matching real tree camouflage little shorts. And then, so what the hell? They say, "You got to do it too," and they yell at the preacher, and the preacher takes off his clothes, and he's got a pair of boxers with skulls and crossbones on. It's a hell of a preacher. So Eric Young, he's like, "You're perfect to me. I've been dreaming about this since I was a little kid." And they do it. They get married. Big smooch in the ring. I got to say, I thought it was actually probably the best wrestling wedding I've ever seen. And I know most of them are horrible, so maybe it's not great praise. But it was really funny stuff. I thought it was a hell of a moment. I really dug it. Gonna put them over. I think ODB and Eric Young together have so much charisma. They have like so much chemistry. It's one of my favorite little groups going in TNA. Really like. But anyway, so they go back to the back. Ric Flair's giving a pep talk to Team Eric. Pretty cool stuff. And he put over the Cavzilla. That's right. He's pointing over to Bully Ray's calves, saying, "I used to go out with a girl who had calves just like that." Woo! Ric Flair. Match 3 in the 3 series. The last one of the 3 series. Brother Ray versus AJ Styles. Really good match. I always thought Ray was a good guy. He knew how to work with the smaller guys. I know a lot of times people say, well, small guy has to know how to work with a big guy, but I don't think it's always true. I think sometimes the big guys don't get enough credit to know how to work with a small guy. And I think ever since the ECW days with his stuff with Spike, I think Bully Ray's a guy who really knows how to work with the small guys. I don't think Bully Ray gets enough credit as a worker as a whole anyway. I think he's a hell of a worker. Really good match. Big brawl outside both teams. Bully Ray knocks him out with the chain punch for the pin. So, of course, just like it should be, the heels get the advantage. And they didn't even have to do a coin toss. I think that's the way it should be, because the baby faces should always have to overcome. That's just tradition, not only in wrestling, I think that's tradition in storytelling, basic storytelling. You want your hero to have to overcome the odds and win, because that's heroic, basic stuff. Then I got to reverse that, because then I think they kind of took away from that for me, because Hogan comes out and he says that the Team Eric has 3 minutes to find their fifth man. The comeback from Ad, he's putting over Ric Flair would do it because he thinks Hogan's gonna be the fifth man on Team Garrett. And then he says, "But let me do it. I want to get in there and I want to beat my son and all this stuff." So he says, "All right." So Eric Bischoff is going to be on Team Eric as a wrestler. And then Hogan, he says that, "Well, I actually told Garrett about this, so he already planned for it." I didn't like Hogan's involvement in this, and I don't really like the babyface authority figure helping out the baby faces, because it goes against what I was saying earlier. It kind of puts them having the odds over the heels, which I think is not what you want to do. I don't think that makes them heroic. But anyway, so he announces that everyone's chanting, "We want Sting," which maybe made this guy feel bad. I don't know, but yeah, it was RVD. So it's going to be RVD, AJ Styles, Anderson, Garrett, and Austin Aries versus Gunner, Ray, Kaz, Daniels, and Eric Bischoff at the pay-per-view. That's going to be pretty good stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Nice video package. Robert Roode, James Storm, again putting over the importance of the title, which was a theme throughout the whole show. Then we had Gail Gail Kim and Madison Rayne versus Mickie James and Velvet Sky. There's another problem with TNA is they switch too much. I mean, we just had Gail and Madison break up, which seemed too soon, and then you immediately put them back together, which seems kind of silly to me. But anyway, I actually thought this was a good match. The knockouts are by far better than the WWE Divas. I think both in the ring as characters. And I'm going to say it, TNA knows how to get the little sleazier camera shots. And what the hell, I like that too. So anyway, Gail Kim, Madison Rayne, good match. Velvet Sky won with the eat defeat on Gail Kim. And I believe she's going for the title at the pay-per-view, so it sets that up. And then to me, this was I can't say the match of the night, but this was the thing of the night. Was a James Storm rude promo in the ring. This was so intense, and this really had everything that I look for in wrestling. It was intense guys talking about beating each other. They want to beat each other up. They're not worried about making silly comments and jokes and all this stuff. They just want to beat each other up. And they want the title. And everything in there, I think it's basic stuff. Why go out of the box? And what else put this over is they went over the whole history of these guys together, and there is a long history. And when you put it all out there, they go over the long history, and then the breakup, and how they've changed, how they were friends, and how they used to dream when they were tag champions about maybe someday going for the title. Now they're two singles wrestlers. One is the champion, and he had to change, become the champion. The other guy still, had his roots, and he wants to go for the gold. Just to me, a perfect wrestling angle. Really liked it. Can't put it over enough. And actually, as Madman Maple brought up on the IYH Wrestling message board, it was two TNA guys. It wasn't, an ex-WWE guy. It wasn't an old guy from ECW. It wasn't an old guy from WCW. It was guys that are basically only known for TNA, that grew up in TNA. We've seen them, flourish in TNA. So put over their own guys, put over the title, put over the pay-per-view. All around excellent stuff on this promo. Great. Really good use of swear words, too. Now, he wasn't like Anderson, who's just constantly a-hole, 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 and then it just loses all its meaning, just sounds stupid, you get sick of it. Just a couple bullshits out there, and it really worked. Really liked this whole show of Impact. Great stuff, really good matches, but more importantly, it was a great build to the pay-per-view, and that's what a TV show should be about. Should make you excited to order the pay-per-view, not vice versa. A lot of times the TNA, the pay-per-views will just be like kind of throwaway things, almost like another show, and the impact will be better than the pay-per-view. Well, I hope this isn't the case. I mean, it could happen. But this one really made me excited to watch the pay-per-view this weekend, and sometimes I even forget TNA pay-per-views are on. But this one went out of way not only to tell you about the pay-per-view, all the feuds, and really put over all the titles and why these guys are fighting. Excellent show. There's a couple little things that I could live without. Like I said, they cut away too fast, I think, from segment to segment instead of keeping on that. I don't really like Hogan's character or his involvement in the main event. But overall, not many complaints. Good stuff. I also did find it funny that they bleeped out ass and they bleeped out punk kid, but they did not bleep out asshole. And at one point in time, they bleeped out bullshit, but they did not bleep out a bullshit later on. And then I thought maybe it's after 10 o'clock, but then they bleeped another bullshit after the previous bullshit. I don't know what was going on there, but I found it kind of amusing. It's not really a big deal. But Lockdown this Sunday. Here are the matches. Blueprint, Matt Morgan versus Crimson. Kind of sick of seeing these guys together by now. I mean, enemies, tag partners, enemies. Why would you even care about the breakup when they start as enemies? Never liked each other as a tag team and then split up anyway. And that match will be in a steel cage. Robbie E versus Devon for the TV championship. The only TV championship that is never defended on TV. It's always defended on pay-per-view. No, I'm not really looking forward to it. Hope Robbie E gets it back. I'm kind of baffled why Devon's really being pushed on the show. But that match is in a steel cage. Velvet Sky versus Gail Kim. That should be pretty good. And that match is for the Knockouts title in a steel cage. I'm going with Velvet Sky. I hope she wins. She's really hot. Motor City Machine Guns versus Joe and Magnus. That should be a hell of a match. I'm glad Joe and Magnus, I think they're an awesome team. And I'm glad to see them feuding with somebody other than Morgan and Crimson. So I think that'll be a really good match. And that is in a steel cage. Even though I'd like to see Motor City Machine Guns get the titles back at some point, I'd like to see Joe and Magnus keep them for this time. We got the charismatic enigma Jeff Hardy versus Kurt Angle. Potential to be an awesome match. The potential to be a bad match, depending on how people show up. I'll leave it at that. But that match will be in a steel cage. I'm going to go with Kurt Angle, one of my favorites of all time. I like Jeff Hardy too, so I don't really mind who wins. Team Eric versus Team Garrett. Now, I think Garrett's going to go over here. I'd like to see Eric go over, but I think Team Garrett's going to win. I'm interested to see the match and see the outcome and to see where they go from here, how the story plays out. And that match will, of course, be in a steel cage. And then the main event, the match I'm really looking forward to, and that is Robert Roode defending the belt versus Cowboy James Storm. I hate to say this, as good as these guys were on the show this week and as good as Robert Roode has been doing, I'd really like to see the title eventually go to Bully Ray. But I don't want to see it go off for Roode either, because this guy has really become a really good champion. So either way, whoever wins, if Storm wins, even though I like him too, I think the guy's been great since they split up the team. I would like to see him as a transitional champion to Bully Ray. If Roode keeps, I like to see him just keep the belt for a while. But nonetheless, it's better to have so many guys you want to see have the belt than guys you don't care about. This is a match I'm really looking forward to. The intensity, just all the promos on Impact this week really put this match over. Importance of the title, the friendship broken up. Just wanting to see these guys beat the shit out of each other. Good stuff. Looking forward to it, and hope Lockdown delivers. And that match, of course, will be in a steel cage. And what's cool about this Lockdown, usually they add a lot of other stipulations to the matches to gimmick up the cages, which are already a gimmick. This year, they're pretty much just all steel cages, which I think is probably for the best. It kind of defeats the purpose of a cage, I think, because you see it over and over. After a while, it's just a match. That's always been the problem with Lockdown. But a lot of times it's delivered, and then sometimes we see some really silly stuff. But I think that's come from adding more gimmicks to an already gimmick match. But these ones are all straight-up cage matches. Overall, they're going to be good stuff, I think. I'm looking forward to it. And if you guys are watching it Sunday night, join the chat room over at iWhiteWrestling.com. Chat with all of us. It's a lot of fun. Rate, subscribe, comment here. Give us a big thumbs up. Listen to us every Wednesday night, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. If you have this news item, or if you have a question to ask, email me at jackiesbackbrother@hotmail.com or leave a voicemail 508-644-8503. I'll play it on the show. Send me a video question and I'll play it on a upcoming edition here of the Jackie Jones Show. We're going to start doing more of these, maybe every day or two. So, to keep them going, you guys send in stuff you want me to talk about, send in questions, and have a lot of fun. And check out iWhiteWrestling.com Wednesday nights, 8:05 p.m. Eastern.